I do want to highlight a little bit about now I'm finding all these things that are not in WorldCat. This one, I'm going to see what this one is, and I'd like to talk just a little bit about how you find it. Okay, so you'll sometimes find entries. So this is a logbook. If you were researching so the Sydney, but it also mentions a Sussex Indiaman. So if you're interested in the Sussex Indiaman, it kind of looks like it's a print book, but my guess is that this is actually a handwritten, it's a manuscript or something like that. One of the challenges is when it doesn't show you a holding at all here. And that's because what happens is you can search through something called NUCMUC, the National Union Catalog of Manuscript Collections. And on my blog post, there's a guide on how to figure out where something is actually held if NUCMUC is the only place to guide you to that resource. That gets a little bit in the weeds. It's worth knowing that it exists. If there is no location here, says that there are no holdings at all, then take a look at my at the blog. Just search for NUCMC in the ShipIndex blog to learn more about how to track it down. I want to talk a little bit about using collections in academic libraries. So in my day job, where I work at an unnamed Ivy League university that happens to be just 2 miles from my home, I work as an electronic resources librarian. I negotiate contracts with these databases. So I'm very familiar with these databases. I know a lot about a lot of these different databases and how the content in them works. And I want to say that when we, at my institution, when we sign a contract, we try very hard to make it possible for anybody to walk in and use that resource. They don't have to be affiliated with the institution at all. That is not always the case. We like to say that here in Ithaca, we are centrally isolated, and it is very hard for people to get to Ithaca. So we don't have a whole lot of people wandering into the campus just because they happen to be there. Unlike, say, our colleagues at Columbia University. So it's no surprise, as I understand it, that you have to show an ID before you even walk into that particular library. But especially if you're thinking about a public university, a public research university, you can almost always walk in and use almost all of the resources that are available there. So I am going to go to this unnamed university, and I want to highlight some of the ways that you can use some of these resources. And then I'm going to go to, and I want to, actually, I jumped ahead of myself a little bit. We'll come back to that in a little bit. I want to talk about using newspapers, especially newspapers for vessel research, but this applies just absolutely across the board when you're doing genealogy, particularly when you're researching an individual or a bunch of individuals, and you want to search across big sets of data. This is really helpful stuff. And I think probably everybody knows about Chronicling America, right? Oops, I wanted to just go to Chronicling America's homepage, and people, this is fantastic. All these digitized newspapers from 1756 or 1690 to present or something like that. So digitized newspapers from 1756 to 1963. I'm going to try searching for Schooner and Argus. I'm trying to mix up my examples here, which may make me look bad in a little bit, but we'll give it a try. So we searched 21 million citations. We found 347 results. Okay, let's limit it to Maryland, and we're still looking at so we got 6 results from Schooner and Argus, and it is great. We can jump in there and find them and go right to it. So this one is not bad. The transcription work is pretty good here. But what I want to highlight is the difference in these subscription databases and what is at Chronicling America, because Chronicling America, I mean, it's fantastic, it's amazing, it's incredible what's there, but the optical character recognition is not very good there. It's really, in some cases, it's absolutely terrible. I hope that they'll improve it in the not too distant future. AI is incredibly good at OCR work. It's a fantastic solution for the Library of Congress. They only have 21 million newspapers and not enough money to tackle any of them. So it'll be a long time, I imagine, before they do that. But eventually, that should be the path that they take. I want to take. So I'm looking at the databases at my local university. I am doing this from home, and I can only do this from home because I can log in here. That's the difference for me. But I'm going to show you some things you can do without logging in. And my argument really is find the biggest research library you can find that will let you walk in and use their databases. And if in that case, there's all kinds of things that you can do. So here's I'm going to look at the historical newspapers. I'm going to try the Baltimore Sun. So right now I'm narrowed down just to the Baltimore Sun. And I'm going to try Schooner and Argus. And I want to see, we're covering 1837 to 1998. We found 437 results here, where in this search, we were looking at all Maryland from 1756 to 1963. So you say, well, you're covering too much time. All right, well, let's take this back to 1960, 1969. This is historical newspapers. It's specifically one newspaper, the Baltimore Sun. I would say, as I take a closer look, they're not doing a very good job, because I said Schooner and Argus, and they're taking the word Schooner and they're taking the word Argus and not taking the two of them together. So I'll say that's a little disappointing. I'm disappointed that ProQuest is not following the instructions that I gave it. But we can see that there is a lot of content in here. And I think that's what I'd really like to emphasize. You can find all kinds of great stuff here when you go into your library. You have to go, of course, to that library, and then you can email it to yourself. And so it's really worth it to consider the resources of a big research library if they're around and if they're available. Similarly, there's another feature that I really want to emphasize for folks who are, when you're taking a look at libraries, take a look, and I'll highlight this one because it's because I think it's really good.